And Natalie, to conclude, I think we've covered a bit, and I could spend hours talking with you, but we don't have much time. And I'd like you to give some advice to professionals. Would you recommend epigenetic technology? What role can it play in their practice? And what would you tell them? Would you encourage them to get it?
I truly believe I no longer consider it, I tell you from the heart, not as a sale, but truly as a life tool, as a pillar in my practice where I cannot conceive of a medical or nutritional consultation today without the epigenetic study. I can't because it's like going in blind. As I always say, you don't need to confess anymore. Your hair tells me everything. When I can get some strands of your hair from your very own head and know in 15 minutes how to work with your conscience, teach it to remove radiation, teach it about the microorganisms your body carries, teach the variety of nutrients that make up a human being, both to consider as a priority and for it to understand, and then be able to tell it, hey, this is your body is talking to you. Are you ready to hear it? But sometimes we don't want to hear it. So this awareness, this wonderful, harmless tool, I repeat because it's so easy. Before, I used to send the blood, right? The omegas to Phoenix, and it cost $500. And then I would send it to Houston, right? To SpectraCell, and it was complicated to send the blood. Today we can get information in seconds, quality information which can also be repeated after 90 days. So the patient sees the professional did a good job with them. Together we can impact biological age cells, reverse this biological age, and show that aging can be reversed and stopped at any age, optimizing the areas the patient wants, right? Because you have to ask what you want to improve. And sometimes it's not what you want, it's what your body is telling us. And here we have this tool. So I invite you to get to know this tool, to use it, to learn from it, to intuit, because it's not so much about studying, but about interpretation. And that's important, to empower yourself. I believe we're in a world where we have an obligation to stay at the forefront every day with the best, like you, who taught me, trained my team. And every time I have a doubt, I ask, I read, and we have the platform where there's even the information and software will help us overcome fear, and we'll learn it in practice. So thank you. Son, I have such interesting cases. Let me tell you about one. I think it's incredible. A man came to see me who has chronic knee pain. He's already had 4 knee implants, and it's really not working for him. He remains inflamed, in pain, and goes to the rheumatologist. He's given methotrexate, which is practically chemotherapy for the body, and the patient keeps getting worse. When he comes to the consultation and I do the epigenetic study, which is a hair sample, right, taken from the nape of the neck, ensuring the hair isn't dyed and is in optimal condition to be taken from the root, to put it into this. Yes, you'll explain it now, won't you? This device. It gets to Germany, receives the sample, and what shows up? Its priority, which I like most, it sets priorities, is heavy metal poisoning. The man practically eats salmon and tuna every day of his life, believing he's eating healthy. And this heavy metal poisoning is causing an endocrine disruption at an immunological level, where today his immune system is fighting this metal poisoning that is practically affecting his immune system, is attacking his knee, his joints. So when I detect this, I start helping him with this study that shows me what elements he's missing, what antioxidants he needs to take to reduce inflammation. Okay? Prioritizing metal elimination, stopping salmon and tuna isn't enough. You have to remove the trigger, but also optimize with what's showing up in the hair, which is to give him selenium, a very important antioxidant that we often forget, right? Often we only focus on zinc, but selenium is for brain detoxification, for the thyroid. It produces glutathione, participates in an important antioxidant to chelate heavy metals, right? Your vitamin D3 is low, a vitamin and prohormone that's often not tested in blood due to cost. But with this sample, we can easily determine that we must focus on optimizing your immune system and removing toxic load. When I start working with him, it's incredible because a week later he calls me, he says, for the first time my knee is not inflamed and it doesn't hurt. He goes to the doctor a month later, they take him off methotrexate a month later. Esteban, I'm not talking about a year. And then the man begins to feel a change in vitality, in energy. The pain goes away. So when could you and I detect heavy metals with a hair sample without sending for a provocative urine test, giving an oral chelator, collecting urine for 6 hours, sending it to the United States? It's expensive, and this is an example of everything we can see with an epigenetic study. From pathogenic microorganisms, which often don't appear in a stool test, or that we're fishing for a fungus, a parasite, but nothing shows up, right? And give priority to what's happening today. Right now, your body is speaking to me, saying, listen to me, give me something. And then we move on to phase 2, phase 3. But listening to your body gives us a language we must learn to perceive and create a personalized plan. That's why I really love it. And I can do this for a child who isn't growing, who's being given growth hormone, but what they're missing is zinc, for example, vitamin D3 with K. Perhaps distintos te hace at this point amino acids. The child isn't consuming protein. So until they physically see the study and realize, right, this priority makes the patient understand, it's true, I'm not eating protein. The child sees it. I'm not taking omegas. I'm not really eating any fatty acids. I think it's important for me as a professional, but also for the patient, because then the patient sees right before their eyes on the screen. They can't be fooled. They're seeing they're intoxicated. They're seeing there's chronic inflammation. So I think there are no words to explain such a rapid study that in 15 minutes I can get such valuable information that changes a patient's life course.